Salutations and welcome to the Friendship News Hour, presented to you by Bummer Dude Media. Today is June the 3rd, 2022. His name is Alex. My name is Frank. How can you believe it's June already?
I cannot believe it, my man. Half the year's gone.
It is gone. I've heard a lot of that. Actually, I saw a montage. It was like every morning news anchor in America on June 1st, and they would like say good morning, and they would look at their co-host, and they'd be like, "Can you believe it's June already?" And like 50 of them in succession. It's hilarious. June, half of the year gone. Half of 22 is out of here.
I expected you to immediately murder me for my Coldplay shirt. I thought there was no other thing you'd go right into.
See, it's the beauty about owning yourself is that I don't have to do any of the work. I can just let you present yourself.
That's why I wore the shirt, though, just to give you something to just lay right into me with. So
I promise you, if I could be any more disappointed in you, I would be, but I cannot, and I've accepted. You'd think somebody with a professional background in music and education in music, somebody who should have an ear, wouldn't be such a big fan of Coldplay, but.
Huge fan of Coldplay, and I became an even bigger fan of Coldplay when I saw them, man. And I've been, in my lifetime, I'm a big concert goer. I love live music. And not even, like, I'll go to shows where I don't even like the music sometimes because it's just like, I like the atmosphere, the energy at a show. It's good vibrations. It's drinking. Sure. It's just usually always a good time. And I'd say in my lifetime, I've probably been to 200 shows. Easy. Like, no question. For sure. Oh, yeah. Been to a lot in high school, bro. I used to go to like shows every weekend, like more like those are like smaller stuff. But like, and then, I mean, dude, through the years, I've got a ticket collection in my closet that isn't overwhelming. And it makes me sad actually, because I always wanted to have like a nice ticket collection, make like a binder, go through them all, which I am going to do with the ones I have. But nowadays it's like everything's electronic to where that dream died probably in like 2016.
Yeah.
Whatever. But dude, Coldplay, man, whether you like their music or not, I highly encourage every single one of our listeners to try to go see them once in their lifetime because it's a show unlike anything I've ever seen. And I mean, they're a huge band. They got a lot of money and you can tell like the money that's put into their stage production is out of this world. You get there and they've been doing this since I moved here in 2012. Actually, it was the first time I seen them. But like every time I see them, something about their show, it's the same, but it like keeps growing and getting bigger. So like in 2012, when I saw them for the first time, you walk in and as soon as you walk in the door, they give you this bracelet. And you're like, oh, cool, like a Coldplay bracelet, like whatever. Like you're just cool. You got a free bracelet for going to the show. Show starts, everything's going on, whatever. It's cool. And then like at one point, like all the lights went out and then like they come back in with like a big dramatic, like, and as soon as they come in on that crash, everyone's bracelets lit up different colors and it's all going to the music. And you're in an arena. Like, at that point I was in the Palace Auburn Hills, which I think held like 50 to 60,000 people. And the whole thing's just going nuts and everyone's are different colors going to the music, doing different patterns and swirling. And it's like, even like saying it, like it sounds cool, but like when you're there and you see it, and especially if you have like a little buzz or something, like you're like in awe. And then like, just like I'm saying, like as I've seen them through the years, I think I've seen them like 3 or 4 times. And like, they just keep adding to it, like confetti cannon, shit's going crazy. We've seen them at Soldier Field twice now. There's fireworks going off. There's flames. Just the LED like light show behind the stage glows up and does trippy shit now. It's just like even if you don't like the music, I would pay for your ticket to go see them, Frank. Like that's it. They're so good.
Okay.
So maybe I would love to find a San Diego tour date, maybe on their next tour, and come out there. That actually would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'd probably be the only time that I would ever go see.
Yeah. I mean, you're not a traveler of concerts either. It's
certainly not. It's funny, man. Like I hear you talk about this concert and it sounds fun. I've never really been a big fan of concerts.
Really?
Yeah, not really. I mean, I like going to see shows. I love seeing like bands or artists that I love that I've never seen before live. But it doesn't get me excited. I'm always kind of like, I kind of like find myself looking at my watch, like, when is this going to be?
Really?
Yeah, usually.
So you're not picking up on the energy?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not doing it right. I don't frequent shows to begin with, but yeah, I don't know. I'd rather go see. So Jacqueline's roommate, soon to be former roommate, is a recording artist here in San Diego. And she's awesome. Her shows are fantastic. And to me, like these little local shows with like our group of friends, just seeing her on stage performing and doing her thing. And like that to me, shout out Peach Cooler. That to me is like way more fun than going to see, say, I was going to say Coldplay, but that wouldn't be fun at all for me. I don't know, like any band. And to me, it gets worse when it's like a hip hop show. I have zero fun at hip hop shows.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know.
I've been underwhelmed a lot at hip hop shows where people like aren't performing their songs. It's like you're listening to like just a recording of the song and they're just coming in with like end lines or like, just filling in little parts, but it's like, you're not rapping. Like, so I feel you there. Although just the heavenly smell of weed in the air at like an outdoor hip hop show is like we saw Outkast up in Milwaukee. And Gary Clark Jr. opened for him. Was a really good concert. Really good concert. Dude, it was so sick. And when I think it was Spodioti Dopalicious when they play like
whole crowd goes crazy.
Dude, and you're just watching, whole crowd goes crazy. There's just billows of weed smoke and you're just like you're watching like 50 thou just rocking. That's what I love. Cool. Like when you just see there's so much like hate and bullshit in this world, and when you just see like so many people connect with anything, you know what I mean? With just something these days, like that's just, it like brings joy to me. But I do feel you on like the intimate shows. Those are some of my favorite as well.
Yeah, for sure. I would much rather go see something, even if it's like a bigger act. I'd rather see them at like a smaller place than go to like a stadium. Or there's a venue here in San Diego called the Belly Up in Solana Beach. It's like northern coastal San Diego. And dude, they've had the Red Hot Chili Peppers play there. It's a small venue. It's like, think of like the Fillmore in Detroit. They've had Lady Gaga and Tony
Braxton.
No, that would be dope. No, Tony, how come I can't think of his last name? Older.
Morrison?
No. Like Italian guy. Dude, this is killing me right now. Bennett. Thank you. Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga did a show there.
Oh yeah, they did like a Christmas album or some shit, didn't they?
Yeah, I forget. But they do some like really high profile acts at this one small venue, and see, that to me is like, that's what I would pay the money for. That's where I would go. Yeah. I think maybe it's just crowds that turn me off.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, big masses of people. It does suck. And like trying to leave, you're in this like hordes of people. That's what sucked leaving Soldier Field, is you're walking out with 60,000 people, and it's just like there's really two main entrances and exits to like get in and out of where Soldier Field is to like any like parking really or public transportation. So it's just like you're just like sardined walking out, slow as fuck, took forever. Yeah. So I feel you there for sure. I did see though that you ever hear the dude French Kiwi Juice?
No.
Producer, super talented musician as well, but he's playing at Petco Park coming up here. He just announced a tour, but Petco Park's one of his stops, and you should try to catch that shit.
French Kiwi Juice.
Yeah, he's like he's a producer, and then he has like other people sing with him on songs and shit, but real laid back, real chill vibe music. It's good, like especially since you're always in the sun. It's good, like summer cruising music for sure. He's got a few. I'll send you some of his albums.
All right,
but yeah, I saw he's at Petco. You should definitely check that out.
Right on. That's an interesting haircut you got there, man. You look like you're about to go into the Marines.
Yeah, dude. So funny enough, my normal haircut, I get like a 4-0 fade, and I have him leave some shit up top, like so I can kind of style it a little bit and not look like a Marine. And he read that note in the computer today and decided the first thing he was going to do is just go right down the center of my shit. And he goes, like that, right? And I was just like, yeah, just like that. That's cool.
Not quite. Slightly off the mark there, Jack.
It's cool, bro. I'm about to be in Vegas next week. It's about to be hot as fuck. I'll be in a suit. So I was like, you know what? The less body hair, the better.
It is hot in Vegas. I was there last week. It's funny. I was there mostly on business, but my friend and yours, Greg Strasbaugh, was there, so I was able to hang out with him for a little bit.
He was filming some good Yoo-hoo content out there.
Oh yeah, it's nice to be in the presence of an influencer every now and then. You have to stop. He's like, hold on, let me record something here real quick. And I would even ask him for help. He's like, no, I got it. He would just set it up, click it, do some weird thing, get back into the car. You ever follow that Instagram account called Influencers in the Wild? Yeah, dude, it's exactly that.
Just like that, yeah.
But he's good, and he's fucking hilarious, dude. I'm always belly laughing when I'm around him.
For sure.
But anyway, I was there mostly on business, and I had a meeting with NV Energy, which is like the utility company out there, whoever, energy electrical provider. And we're sitting there, we're talking, and one of the guys goes, "Oh, where are you staying?" And I was staying off the strip at an NBC Suites off the strip, and he goes, oh, so you're not staying like on the strip, you're not doing a thing. And I'm like, you know, man, I'm at a point in my life where when I book a Vegas trip, I'm like not excited about it.
Yeah, right.
I just see Vegas in the future, like, oh fuck, dude.
Well, you're there. Fuck, probably you've been there what 4 or 5 times this year?
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, you're there a lot.
Well, it's so quick, and you know, there's so many things happening there. Conventions, conferences, whatever. Yeah, dude, Vegas is just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Where you staying?
We're staying at MGM and riding the monorail to the convention center pretty much every day. So hopefully it won't be too bad. But I've never been to Vegas. When did we go to Vegas? Was it May when we drove through there? I think that was right when we graduated. So it had to be May. So pretty close to now. And that wasn't terrible, but I've never really been there like in a suit on business, which it sounds like I'm going to be. So I hope there's going to be jeans.
It's fine. You'll be fine. You're not indoors almost or outdoors almost ever. So everything's air conditioning. You'll be straight.
Right.
No, fun, man. MGM's cool. Got some nice dinners planned.
Mostly, hoping so. My boss did most of that stuff, but it's on his dime. So I'll go wherever the food's free and the drinks are free as well. So
and that's the fun thing about it, especially when you go on business, because there's so many good places to eat, and it's usually like on the company dime or whatever. So it's an indulgent meal. You're steaks and wine and appetizers,
old fashions.
Yeah, exactly, old fashions out the wahoo. But that's just it, right? It's like it's indulgent. It's so indulgent.
Yeah, by the end of the week, you're like, I'm like ready to go home. I'm so ready to go home at the end of a trade show week, man.
Oh, yeah, dude. After 3 days in Vegas, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, bro. I do enjoy that drive, though. I really enjoy that drive.
That was a fun drive.
It's, so we came from the north. I'm talking about the drive
from Denver,
from San Diego to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But coming from the north is incredible. I wish it was a little less far from where I'm at, because I'd love to just like skip out on Vegas and just go out into Utah or like Arizona or something. It was funny because Greg and I were talking, and I was like, "What do you want to do?" Because we had gone, gambled, whatever, ate, seen the strip, showed him Fremont, all the touristy things, and we were just kind of sitting there like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Hey, you want to go to the Grand Canyon?" And he was blown away. He was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, we can just drive to the Grand Canyon if you want. I mean, it's a drive, but we can go. We can make it happen. And it blew him away because it's so funny because he lived in Ohio his whole life. The Grand Canyon was never an accessible destination for him ever in his life. And I just threw it out like, "Hey, we can go to the Grand Canyon."
He just right.
He had no clue. That to me was cool. And then seeing Vegas from because he had never been to Vegas, seeing Vegas from somebody's news eyes was interesting.
I do remember that first time you see it. It's pretty. It's like nothing you've ever seen before, for sure. Like it's lights and just always alive and breathing. You got people handing out cards on the strip to like bang a hooker. And you're like, what? What place am I in right now?
He asked me that. He goes, do they really just hand out like cards with call girls on them? I was like, yeah, dude, we can go like right now. Within 30 seconds, we'll find that. He goes, no way, dude. You can just go and like call up and get a hooker.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I've never tried, but anything that you want, I told her, anything that you want to do.
Yeah.
Somebody's already thought of it and you can make it happen in Vegas. Promise.
Yeah. My boss was just telling me you can drink in taxis there, not in Ubers, but in a taxi. You can have an open container in Vegas. I never knew that
that's
before.
The case. I don't know why not. You can drink everywhere else.
Taxi drivers hate Ubers because they take all their money and shit. Like, advertise that. Hey, come get fucked up in our cabs.
Dude, and also the proliferation of weed in Vegas is outrageous, dude.
I'm curious about that because, like, not as much this time, but me and you are going for a bachelor party in July. Like, how that... Yeah, tell me about it. What's it like right now?
It's insane. We were walking down the street, and I looked, and I was like, "Hey," and I was like, I pointed, and there's a dispensary attached to in the very same building as a Subway. And I was like, "Man, we've come pretty far."
Yeah,
in just a few short years. I think they legalized it in like 2017 or something in Nevada, and now we have dispensaries connected to Subways, and they're everywhere. Everywhere, literally walking distance everywhere, dude. They're as prevalent as like check cashing places. They're everywhere.
But what I was reading is that like the smoking of it, like in a hotel or outdoors, is still very like frowned upon, illegal. Like I know it's Vegas, you can get away with shit, but
as many times I've been to Vegas since they've legalized weed, I've never really seen anybody smoking weed inside of like a casino.
No. But like, what about a hotel room? You think? Like, if you get a smoking hotel room, I read online because I was, looking for a friend. Let's say if you get a smoking room, it still said it was like you could get a smoking fee for smoking marijuana inside. But it's like, if it's so legal, I don't understand in places where it's recreationally legal why there's so many, especially in a place like Vegas where you can open container on the street with alcohol. Like, why wouldn't you be able to do the same with weed? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I obviously don't book smoking rooms. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like outdoors, it's everywhere.
People are smoking on the strip
everywhere at any given point. Somebody is smoking something. Yes.
Okay. That's comforting
for sure. Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's not, nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit.
Nor should they.
Indeed. Yeah. And Fremont, dude, that place, holy smokes. I mean, it always used to be kind of like crazy, but we were there on Friday. Yeah, Friday. So the whole reason he was in Vegas was to see Richard Cheese. Do you remember Richard Cheese?
Heard the name, never. He is a musician, right?
He does.
Or a comedian, or
he does like lounge music covers of famous music.
Okay, that's what it is. Yeah.
So like he has like his most famous one's probably Down with the Sickness, but it's lounge music, you know. And for whatever reason, Greg is just a huge fan of this guy. Like, loves his music. It's funny because I was looking him up before the show. And he has something like 22 albums.
Jesus.
You know, because when you're in that little business, your catalog is endless. It's everyone else's songs. You're just doing covers. And I was telling that to Greg, and Greg's like, yeah, I have all of them. And he opens up his Spotify, and it's every single one of his albums.
Jesus. Like, dude, dedication.
But yeah, so we saw Richard Cheese, and it was good. It was a good show.
Yeah.
It was their first one back in Vegas since the pandemic. So they were a little rusty. But all in all, it was pretty good. And then we went to Fremont after, dude, and it was just, dude, crazy thick with people.
Always my favorite thing in Vegas to do is to go there. One day I want to just stay there because like being able to go and like actually gamble because the minimums are smaller there. Like I really enjoy that more than sitting down and spending $30 a spin of roulette and shit like that. Like, I don't love that. Like, that's not fun to me, and I don't like slots. So I like being able to go play the table games down there, and it's always a party down there, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I went up to this guy, and I wanted to get a drink, and it's mostly like those, you know, frozen drinks and like real sugary shit. And so I was like, what do you have? I go, what's your favorite one here? And he goes, none of them. They're not good.
That's a
He's
salesman.
like, they're all sugary. And I was like, what do you have that's not sugary? He goes, a mixed drink. I was like, all right, let me do a whiskey and diet. And he was like, all right, Jameson cool? I was like, yeah. I pull up my phone, and it's like a big cup, you know, like a big gold cup. I'm like looking at my phone, and I look up like 30 seconds later, and this guy's still pouring liquor.
Good.
It's like legit. Like if it's like this cup, the liquor was up to there.
Holy shit.
Yeah, dude, it was wild. And I was like, fuck, man. He even said before, he goes, let's get you drunk. And he poured it, and I was like, fucking A. And I look around, and everyone's got these drinks. And I'm like, holy shit, dude. We can't stay here for very long.
We won't get back to the strip.
Blackout. Wow.
That's good, man. That's awesome.
We'll have fun next week, dude.
Yeah, hopefully it should be a good time. Looking forward to when we go, too. That'll be probably a little bit better of a time.
Yeah, it should be a great time. I am actually looking forward to that one.
But next week I'll be reporting live from the MGM Grand, so we'll see how that goes.
I'm starting to get, and I need to stop, but I'm starting to get like little tastes of luxury. For example, yesterday I was flying from Oakland to San Diego, and I was up in the Bay Area for work, and something came up, and I needed to go see a site that was kind of out of the way. And so on my way to the airport, I tried to fit it in, and inevitably I missed my flight. Well, no big deal. I could grab the next one. It's Southwest. There's flights going from Oakland to San Diego all the time. Yeah. So I'm running through the airport, and I look, and I see one of those airport lounges, and it said Amex on it. And I go, well, fuck me, I have an Amex. So I walked in. I go, does this card get me in? And they were like, yep, you're good. Signed in, and I was like, what the fuck? I ended up having to pay like a $15 fee or whatever. And I got in, I sat down at this lounge. I had like 2.5 hours before my flight, and it's just unlimited alcohol and food.
Oh, really?
That's all it is. Oh, yeah.
That's worth $15 for sure, especially at the airport. That's like a sandwich.
Yeah, that's one drink.
Yeah. Damn.
So it was sweet, dude. And it's like this lounge, there's super comfortable seats, charging ports everywhere, Wi-Fi. I mean, everything. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm never going to not use this ever.
Right.
It's incredible. Like, I would go out of my way to find an airport that had this, to go to this. This is incredible. Honestly, just for the setup alone, because like finding a charging port in an airport anymore is incredibly difficult. And then like finding a comfortable seat and not paying $50 for a sandwich and a drink, you know, like crazy stuff. So that's cool. And then when we go to Vegas in July for Michael's bachelor party, we're flying private from San Diego to Vegas, which was roughly the same amount as a regular flight. And we get to just pull up right to the gate, don't go through TSA, walk to this gate. They scan your luggage for explosives, and then you're on the flight.
That's awesome.
I know, dude. Oh my God. I know. It's so bad because it's like once you get a taste of that, it's like, and then you have to go back and like fly like a peasant. Dude, and it's so funny. It's crazy how elitist you feel. Like when I was in that lounge, I'm sitting on like the side of the wall, but it's a window. You can see through it. They have little things like to kind of like shield it, but you can see through it. Yeah. 3 or 4 times, dude, I had somebody come up like right next to me and just like look in the lounge to look. And I didn't say anything, but like inside I'm like, huh.
Right. That's what I always think about when you get on a plane and there's all those people in first class. You're just walking by them and they're just like, you piece of shit. Get to the back of the plane, you piece of fucking trash. Like, it's like, why do they put those people on first? Like,
right,
they get to judge you the entire time.
Yeah, I know. And like, I'm not judging this person. I don't know this person, but like, inside of me, I was like, I bet you wish you were here. Yeah, right. You know, and it's so stupid. It's just a dumb little lounge. Like it means nothing. But it gives you that weird like feeling of elevation. Like you're above it all. And I don't know. Maybe it's just because when we grew up, we didn't have much. So like that kind of thing. Although it's like now that I know it's incredibly accessible. Back in the day, that thing was like, oh, you had to be rich to be in there. You know what I mean? Like
or
you had to have money if you're in there. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So I don't know. It's a slippery slope, man.
Yeah. Well, shit. How much was that private flight like per person? Is it reasonable to do it? Like I know that's not a long flight, but
I mean, it's pretty reasonable if you're thinking about. It's not, dude. It's like 45 minutes, especially in a private flight. Could put probably like less than that. It was like $250.
That's really not terrible, though. I mean,
when you think about it, you could probably get the same flight for about 60.
Yes, I would say Babs got his flight for 50 or $60.
Yeah. So I mean, like, but it's like it's a bachelor party. It's I guess I can justify the expense, and it's neat. Like it's just like an experience. But what I'm afraid of is that it becomes you acquire that taste for luxury, and then you're like, I don't really want to do.
Right.
I don't want to do the alternative. But no, I mean, obviously not. And like, it just so happens that we happen to be in a really cool corner of the world where a lot of different things are accessible, right? For example, for the same time in the air, I could be in Phoenix, I could be in damn near San Francisco, and then for like maybe an hour more, the radius goes all the way to like Austin, Texas, Denver, Seattle. Like the radius of places I can go in a really short distance is a lot bigger. So that's what I'm afraid of. It's like, wow, there's short flights and like, you can sometimes justify the expense sometimes. But obviously if you're going to like places like Mexico or, travel like that, you're not going to be, spending all that money. Oh, who knows? Maybe one day soon.
That'll be awesome, dude.
Are you familiar with the Zoot Suit Riots?
No.
You ever heard of this?
No.
Do you know what a Zoot Suit is?
No.
It's like think of like a caricature of a 1930s 1940s gangster.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So like super high-waisted suit pants, baggy clothes, cigar in the mouth, tie and all that.
Suspenders with the hat.
Yep. Exactly. That's a Zoot suit.
Okay.
On this day, 1943, the Zoot Suit Riots began when U.S. sailors marched through downtown Los Angeles carrying clubs and other makeshift weapons, attacking anyone wearing a zoot suit, the baggy wool pants, oversized coats, and pork pie hats, favored by many young men of color at the time. So apparently there were negative views of people who wore zoot suits in World War II because, shocker, back in that time, we didn't have shit, right? We didn't have sugar to make cakes, and we had to ration a bunch of things. One of those things was wool. So when people saw others wearing zoot suits, they were seen as like unpatriotic, right? Because they're taking up a ton of resources that the U.S. needed for the war effort. So there was like this murder in 1942 that caused hundreds of Mexican American youths to be rounded up by police, and 22 of them were tried and convicted of murder of another Mexican man named Jose Diaz. It was overturned, and it was a big deal. But 22 of these people were convicted of murder of one person.
Jeez.
Which gave like a negative connotation of these Zoot Suits. Anyways, there was like some scuffle between U.S. sailors in L.A. and a group of youths that were wearing Zoot Suits, and it ended with one of the civilians beating up one of the sailors. So in retaliation, 50 sailors left their Navy Reserve Armory on the evening of June 9th, armed with makeshift weapons like clubs and knives and things like that, and just went out targeting people wearing Zoot Suits, just, random, en masse. And nobody died, but there was like hundreds of people arrested, bunch of people sent to the hospital, and it was seen as like a really, really, really bad thing with the backdrop of World War II happening in the background. But yeah, there you go. There's the story of the Zoot Suit Riots.
Well, while we're talking organized crime, a couple updates over in the Young Thug RICO case. Thug was now officially denied bail. A1 Mr. Jeffrey Williams. And now it sounds like there are rats basically within the YSL gang. And it looks like the prosecutor is alleging that he has several proffers, which are like, before you have like an official like testimony, you can like sit with the prosecutors and kind of like, what do you know? What can you offer us? Like, it's off the record, but what can you offer us if we were to cut you a deal, kind of a thing.
Sure.
And allegedly, like he has quite a few from people within the organization, basically like pointing to Young Thug as the head of this entire thing. They've stated formally that they're very scared of Mr. Williams. They're saying he's dangerous, and that if they cross him, he will kill them and their families. And they were very clear about how serious he would actually like follow that promise up. So it sounds like people within Young Slime Life are kind of coming forward and all kind of pointing the finger towards Thug and Gunna as like the heads of this. And that's why basically he was denied bail when they let the judge know they had several proffers. So not looking great, man. Not looking good at all for him to get out of jail.
Yeah, it's rough. The judge set his trial date of January of 2023. So barring something, he's in jail for at least another 6 months.
Yeah, damn.
Fucking wild, man. Do you remember back in 2014, 2015? He was involved in a case where, and I don't know the names, but I know that it had to do with him, Young Thug, and Birdman putting out a hit on Lil Wayne and shooting up his tour bus. Do you remember this?
Really? Well, they used to hate him. They used to hate each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So some guy who I guess pulled the trigger was involved. He's the one that took the rap for it. But apparently Thug was involved. Like, he was like right there. And he ended up getting off. That had not everything to do, but a lot to do with like the strained relationship between Wayne and Birdman.
Because wasn't he calling his albums like Barter? Because how like Wayne had the Carter 1, 2, 3.
Well, which is interesting, because if you listen to any like interviews back in the day of Thug, they'll talk to him about, what is your inspiration? What kind of music do you listen to? And he says, the only music I listen to that isn't my music. He said he just plays his music. The only music that he listens to that isn't his is Lil Wayne's.
Yeah.
And that was like his growing up. That was like the person that he revered the most.
But then I think when Wayne and Birdman had issues, like Birdman kind of used Thug as like a way to get at Wayne, I think. Yeah,
I don't know the details, but it sounds like something like that happened. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I remember hearing that. And then in 2018, he came out with the LP On the Run. Yeah. Because I guess he had a bunch of legal troubles that he was trying to get out of. So it seems like this probably shouldn't be that big of a surprise.
True.
But what is interesting to me is one, that both of them, Gunna and Young Thug, didn't make bail. If you don't know who these people are, just know that they're like absolutely at the top of the rap game as far as like rappers go and
popularity,
music sales and popularity and all that. Like, they're there. So they're saying that these two people are are dangerous. Meaning, if they're let out of jail, the fear of the prosecution and the judge is that they will be able to manipulate this case and do like kind of like what you're saying. These people who are saying they're scared. Now, maybe they're only saying that because there's people coming out saying that they're scared because they're staring down, a decade plus of prison time. And so they're saying this, and then the judge, the prosecutor is using this to convince the judge that this person is indeed a threat to others if they're let out of jail. But it's crazy because in order to do this, they're even saying they're going to use their lyrics as evidence. In order to do these things, that evidence has to be so overwhelming. It has to be so good and damning, because if not, it's basically just hearsay. And then they're locking up these people for 6 months, no bail, for hearsay. So what that means to me is that there's probably a really, really good chance that these two men go to prison for a long time.
Yeah, with the lyrics, it's like, dude, unless you're like, I killed Bill Williams or whatever, like unless you're like by name who you killed, like I don't know how they can use your lyrics against you, because like it's freedom of speech, obviously, but like it's fucking music. Like you should have your freedom of expression just to say whatever the fuck you want. Like the only way I could see is if you like specifically name someone or like a specific crime or like bank robbery that you did by name, but I don't know. That seems wild to me.
So here is a list. I don't know if we've gone over this already, but here's a list of notable rappers that are in jail right now. Young Thug, Gunna, Y&W Melly, Pooh Shiesty, 42 Doug, Casanova, Tay-K, YFN Lucci, K-Flock, Chef G, Hood Rich Pablo Juan, Raylo, and 03 Greedo. I don't know 60% of those names. But this is from Hot Freestyle Twitter, at Hot Freestyle. I don't know what that means, but maybe we start seeing a shift in rap music. Who knows? Yeah,
I mean, I think what it means is just a lot of youth in our country that grow up in inner cities grow up in gangs, and by the time maybe you become like a musician or a rapper or whatever you're doing, like getting to your career per se, like you've been affiliated with these people or whatever for so long that like now you just have more power and influence to like grow that. So I think it's just more like a, maybe not so much on rap music, a reflection, but like just a reflection on just like what life is like in America for perhaps some of the youth, and you know what I mean, in different areas. I think it's just more like a harsh reality of what's really going on. Not to justify it at all, but like I just think it is what it is right now. Just that's how a lot of people have to survive. So it sucks.
It does.
I just want to know how Jack Harlow's involved. I want to know that so bad. When that reporter said that, I'm like, he fucking knows something. What is it? I'd love for that to happen. That'd be crazy.
Dude, that would be absolutely wild.
Dude's a cornball to me.
I know. I know. So we've heard a lot about shootings and terrible things happening. This next segment is just some news stories about things that didn't happen, which I think is kind of nice. In Boston, the director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, said that the FBI thwarted a planned cyber attack on a children's hospital in Boston that was said to have been carried out by hackers sponsored by the Iranian government.
Eek.
Yeah, I mean, that's scary and it sucks, but it's good to know that this one didn't fall through the cracks. I don't know how many of these do fall through the cracks. I do know that ransomware and cyber attacks in hospitals are like an everyday occurrence. But, we're talking about sick children here. And so that probably would have costed the Children's Hospital in Boston a ton of money. The FBI chief recounted the anecdote in a broader speech about ongoing cyber threats from Russia, China, and Iran, and the need for partnerships between the U.S. governments and private sectors. He said that the FBI and the Boston Children's Hospital had worked closely together after a hacktivist attacked the hospital's computer network in 2014. Oh, this was in 2014. Martin Goatsfeld had launched a cyber attack at the hospital to protest the care of a teenager at the center of a high-profile custody battle, and later was sentenced to 10 years in prison. So that's good to know. And then in Charleston, West Virginia, police say a woman's actions may have prevented a mass casualty event following an altercation about a man speeding through a neighborhood. So there was a guy speeding through a neighborhood. There was a bunch of people out It was a nice day. And this guy, Dennis Butler, was like speeding up and down a parking lot, just like speeding up and down. So people who lived there, they were attending a graduation party, approached this dude and were like, hey, slow down, man. There's children here playing. And they said that he seemed agitated and left, but then he returned shortly after with an AR-15. And then he just started shooting people at a crowd. And then police say a woman was there, pulled out her pistol, shot him in the head and killed him.
Damn.
Boom. Done. See ya. This is the Charleston, West Virginia Police Department. This lady was carrying a lawful firearm, a law-abiding citizen who stopped the threat of probably 20 or 30 people getting killed. She engaged the threat and stopped it. She did not run from the threat. She engaged it, preventing a mass casualty event here in Charleston.
Interesting how that works, huh?
Interesting.
People have a means to protect themselves to do so and save people.
Yeah. Interesting. Just one story. But then there was a story that came out this week about a shooting that happened in 2020 in San Diego. It occurred 2 days after the George Floyd killing. And according to California law, you're supposed to release the video cam footage of a police shooting. I forget the time frame. It's very soon after it happens. Like, you're supposed to release it very soon. So it can't
get doctored. Yeah.
Right. Something tells me that releasing this footage probably, at the time when it happened, probably would have done more harm than good. So they waited 2 years to release this footage, and they released it this week. And it involves a mentally ill woman by the name of Rosa Calva. And she was throwing things off of her roof in downtown San Diego, or off of her balcony onto the trolley tracks, furniture and mops and buckets and all kinds of things. A couple of people called the police, and they let the police know when they called them that she had like a knife. She was like waving a knife outside of the balcony. So police know about this. They're aware there's a threat with a knife. They show up to her apartment, and they found her barricaded in her bathroom. 5 by 5 bathroom, very small. They got there within 20 minutes of getting the call from 911. They gave her commands to walk out of the bathroom. They had a police dog. She didn't, so they used this tool called the Halligan bar to like open a hole in the door, and then they fired pepper ball rounds in the bathroom. Then the police dog went into the bathroom. The officers kicked the bathroom door down, and then within like 3 to 5 seconds, this woman was shot 4 times and bitten by the dog. Okay. So within, 3 minutes, trying to get the time frame here, within about 3 minutes of police getting to the apartment, they entered the apartment, broke down the bathroom door, and shot a woman. Okay. She survived, and she ended up getting some help because she was very mentally incapacitated. Now, we can have a conversation about whether or not the police should have shot this woman who was not mentally stable. I don't think they should have. But the whole point of this is that they went into this bathroom in 3 minutes. They neutralized whatever this threat was. It took police officers in Uvalde 52 minutes to enter an active shooter scenario. I can't talk about this for like very long because it just like literally makes my blood boil. And to just throw a fucking bucket of salt onto this wound. The police chief of Uvalde, Pete Arredondo, who was in command during the law enforcement's response to the mass shooting at Robb Elementary School, was sworn in as a member of the city council of Uvalde on Tuesday in a secret ceremony. Are you fucking kidding me? This guy just got a promotion.
What the fuck? How is that
out
possible?
Of respect for the families who buried their children today and who are planning to bury their children in the next few days, no ceremony was held, Uvalde Mayor Don McLaughlin said in a statement. Let me correct that for you, Mayor. Out of respect for the families who buried their children today and who are planning to bury their children in the next few days, this piece of shit has been fired from the police department of Uvalde and will no longer have a job in law enforcement as long as he lives. That is the correct statement.
Dude, these people need charges pressed against them, bro. Like, I don't know how... what the grounds would be for that, bro, but like, come on, dude.
Well, there is no grounds because there was so when we talked about this last week, it was just coming out, the details of what had happened. And then the things we said last week about this were actually true. They did not rush into the school. There was no armed guard at the school. The door was propped open by a teacher, and that's how he got into the school. And then when he was able to get into the school and barricaded himself into a room, the police made a decision to treat it as a hostage situation and not an active shooter situation, which was obviously the wrong move. It took them a long time to admit that that was the case. Their story went from they engaged the shooter outside the school to they chased the shooter inside the school to there was nobody there to engage the shooter outside the school. And then finally they all had to fess up that what they to say what they did. Now, why there's no grounds for these people to be charged is because there was a Supreme Court case in the 90s, I think, which said all but definitively that police officers have no legal obligation to put themselves into harm's way for civilians.
But is there any kind of case to be made for stopping the parents? Because first of all, from what I've heard, they were parents of kids in the school. They went and got their kids out themselves, but then were stopping other parents from doing so. Like, correct. That's criminal to me right there. Like that's like the main thing that I would think, like maybe there'd be some grounds to do so, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely the wrong decision. I mean, maybe there's legal ground, maybe there's not. At the very best, it's like the worst look ever to be pinning down parents who are worried about their kid getting shot. Yeah, it's a terrible look. And it just, I don't know, man, like how do you reward, and this is an elected position that this chief of police got. So maybe there's really nothing that the city council could have done to stop this guy from being sworn in. Maybe there is, maybe there's not. I don't know. But it just looks like we're rewarding cowardice. Right.
Yeah. In the highest regard. Yeah.
I mean, that's all it is. It's just cowardice. It's pure and simple, weak men. Like I'm ashamed that I'm a countryman of this person. Like this person is, could be my neighbor. I don't know, man. How you don't resign in disgust is beyond me. I mean, I don't know how you live with yourself. Like this is on your the blood's on your hands here. I'm not saying you should be legally responsible, but you made the decision,
right?
You made the call. You're in charge. The buck stops with you. And if you made the wrong decision, well, then you're obviously not fit to be in that position, because God forbid anything like this happens in your community again, in any capacity. Who's going to trust you?
Yeah. To me, I just don't know how involuntary manslaughter doesn't play into that, bro. In some degree, like those more people died because you didn't do your job. So like that's, I don't know. I hope the case is made, bro. I really do, because
maybe, but it looks like they have protection from from on high. So I don't think that it will. Although it does say in the description of the position in which he held, and then subsequent police officers below him, that if you are not willing to engage in something that puts your life at risk, then you should probably find a new job.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, think about and I don't know, like this could obviously happen depending on the severity of the event. But just imagine a firefighter just standing outside of a burning building, right, and like a parent's like, my kid's in there, and trying to go get it. And then you pin them down and you're like, no, it's not safe for you. Like, could that happen? Absolutely. And if it's like a 3-alarm fire and it's like, it's certain death if you go into it, well then, okay. Yeah, but you I don't know, man. You see way more firemen and people like that putting themselves in danger. Not that police don't, but I don't know, man. When push comes to shove and your opportunity comes and your number is called and you act that way, like I don't like, above and beyond the legality of it, you should quit. You should quit, and you should reflect, and you should sacrifice your life now to making sure that other people that were put in that position have the balls to make the decisions that they need to make.
Mm-hmm. Or an ambulance driver that shows up and says, "Oh, we should probably call an Uber."
Yeah, something. I mean, it's on par with that. It's absolutely ridiculous. While we're on the subject, I just feel like it's worth pointing out. There were 4 people killed on Wednesday in a hospital in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Did you hear about this?
I did hear about this, yeah.
For whatever reason, this isn't getting nearly as much national attention. I have my theories, and I will hold them for now.
No, tell them.
Because it's black on black crime, and we don't care about black on black crime. We can't make a case for anything about that. It's a black guy who killed another black guy who happened to be a doctor. That is what happened. And we obviously don't care about that. I think were you the one? Oh, no, because we just had it. Here is, over Labor Day weekend in Chicago, where you went to a concert, so you very well could have been in the middle of all of this. 63 people were wounded in shootings over Labor Day weekend in Chicago, 8 children, and the victims ranged in age from 4 to 17 years old. 49 shootings from 6 p.m. on Friday to 11:59 p.m. on Monday. 6 murders. One of them was a 4-year-old boy.
See, honestly though, bro, I'd be really interested. That kind of feels like a normal weekend. Like I would be, not to downplay that, but like, dude, that happens all the time here. You should see the stats over like 4th of July weekend and shit. When people have the cover of fireworks, our shootings they skyrocket. It's crazy. No pun intended. But when people have the cover of fireworks, they're gangbanging all night long. It's
just interesting that I don't know, man, like we should probably be just as outraged.
Right.
Over this. The response is not proportionate. And I think we all know why. Politics has a lot to do with it. But I mean, come on. What the fuck is this? 49 shootings in a weekend? You're telling me that's normal. One, I believe you. And 2, I have to take your word. You live there. It's outrageous. It blows my mind. And then we have this thing going on in Tulsa right now. 4 people were killed. So this guy was going into the hospital targeting a doctor and killed 2 other people and himself.
Was there a reason? Like, did he obviously had history of the doctor?
I think this doctor performed a surgery and he was like upset at like how much pain he was in or something like that. I don't know, dude.
Seems
I have no
like
idea.
A reasonable response.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I don't know, man. It's frustrating on so many levels, right? Like, it's frustrating that we even have to talk about it. It's frustrating that this regime media is deciding not to make a big deal out of this. It's even more frustrating to hear how many people were killed and how many people were shot in Chicago. Somebody said something over the weekend that it kind of like resonated with me a little bit. They said the difference between murder and manslaughter is the skill of the trauma surgeon. And I was just like, oh, fuck me. It's ridiculous. But like, think about it. Think about being a trauma surgeon in Chicago.
Oh yeah, bro.
I'm sure they can relate a lot to a trauma surgeon in any war-torn area, which is outrageous. Dude, we're talking about Chicago, Illinois. This is the American dream.
Those would be some good, very interesting and heavy interviews, bro. With South Side and West Side trauma surgeons. That would be. I can't even imagine the stories that they have, man.
Shit is wild, dude. Yeah. Shit is wild. And I think we both kind of knew that. Although we weren't super thrilled about the ongoing lockdowns and measures for COVID, but I think it was apparent, even palpable that these events weren't happening. And I think we knew why. We were all locked down. Nobody's doing anything. There's nowhere to go and take out your frustrations. And then you add the 2 years of isolation and loneliness and despair, job loss, and all this shit. Put it all into a grinder, spit it out, and now I think we're starting to reap what we sowed, and it's just so ugly, man. It's just
what I will say though is, I mean, in Texas, and in Oklahoma, this Tulsa shooting, those are 2 of the states where it's the easiest to get a gun. And reports from this Tulsa shooting says that he bought the rifle the exact same day he did it. So really? It's like if the people that are making calls to tighten restrictions or like have another look at how people are getting guns and who is getting guns, I don't think they're all just these like crazy liberal people. Like there are points to be made in that argument, man. And I'm not, I am very pro gun, but to be able to go out, buy a gun the same day with no background check or any kind of mental health thing done to you, like this shit's gonna just keep happening. Like it's the way the mental state that our country's in from all the reasons you were saying last episode. It's just like, if we don't find a way to try to help this problem, I don't see it going away at all. And I know you said like the only way what was it? The only way whatever is through.
The only way out is through.
Right. I think we're going to be going out for quite a while before we get through. If the approach is to just not try to introduce any legislation to like slow this shit down. Like this dude was pissed off. He had a meeting with the doctor the day before, went out the next day, bought a rifle and went and killed himself and 3 other people. Like, if maybe he would have had, he wanted to get a gun, but there's like a couple week time where a background check and a mental health check was done, he might have cooled off about it, and maybe shit like this doesn't happen. Like, I just think it could help. I just don't think like the argument of like, well, it's amendment, it's my right, I want a gun, I should get it this second. Like, I just don't think that plays as well or will for as long. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was interesting. He got it the same day.
Yeah, man. Fucking A, dude. What do you do?
Yeah. I don't have the answers at all.
Oh, I don't either, man. I don't either. I wish it did. I really do.
You know who else wishes they had the answers?
Who's that?
The PGA.
Oh, man. PGA. You know what, dude? I'm going to let you describe this. I just initial thought as you said that. The PGA's playing this very cool, like close to their chest, but I know they're squirming.
Yeah.
I know they're squirming. They've
got to be, because they're going to start losing a lot of golfers. It sounds like this new, I think it's Saudi Arabian backed league, the LIV. Their first opener for their new golf league is coming up, I think, next week, June 9th through the 11th in London at the Centurion Golf Club. And this week the field got announced, and the biggest name was former number one Dustin Johnson, who allegedly was paid $125 million to join this league.
Yeah, it's an easy decision for me.
Right. And technically he's still a member of the PGA, and what the PGA said about him and any other player from the PGA that has decided to join this, which some of those guys are Sergio Garcia, Louis Oosthuizen, Ian Poulter, Taylor Gooch, Kevin Na, Lee Westwood, a couple others. They've announced that the PGA will not be giving any discipline until after the event is concluded.
Yeah.
So on June 12th, I think we'll see how seriously they want to take it. They've threatened lifetime bans. Let's see if they back that up. I don't know.
I'll give a little background here to those who may not know what's going on. So I'm trying to think of like a comparison here. You could use football, the NFL, right? The NFL is the predominant league in American football. Major League Baseball is the predominant league in baseball across the world, right? And there's other leagues, and people play football in other places and they play baseball in other places. But this is where the money's at, and this is where, most importantly, the best players play. The USFL with the NFL tried to do something similar, where they create a rival league and then they try and get some of the talent, try to poach the talent from the other leagues. This is an incredibly difficult thing to do when you're talking about things like baseball and football, because you need stadiums and you need, advertising rights. You need all this stuff, and it's incredibly hard. So there's this league, LIV Golf, right? And the efforts here are headed by Greg Norman, Aussie Greg Norman. And the reason that he's spearheading this is because he's just kind of fed up with the way that the PGA is treating their golfers. The PGA has all the leverage. They are the predominant league in golf. So if you want to be part of the best golf tournaments in the world, you have to play by the PGA's rules. And Greg Norman and a lot of other golfers share the sentiment that the PGA has gone too far. So what Norman has done is he's teamed up with the Saudis, which it's like strike one, right? That's a tough thing to do. Yeah, they have a ton of money, but their track record on everything is super, super sketch, right? So you're buddying up with some pretty bad people, like not great. But the reason that people like Greg Norman and these other golfers are willing to take this risk is because there is so much money involved. And that is the catalyst here. The amount of money, like you said, Dustin Johnson, who is like who would you relate Dustin Johnson to in like football?
We could call him, because at one time he was like the number one. So I guess I would call him like Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, right. Yeah, it's a great example. I would say for sure, like Aaron Rodgers,
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Like Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
a little bit, like a step below a Rodgers, but not by much. So anyways, this guy said, all right, screw it. And the PGA has said if you go over to this other league, that there's going to be heavy discipline. And we don't really quite know what that is yet. And so Dustin Johnson, I don't give a fuck, $100 million. What do I care? Right? So I think the thing that the PGA is holding on to is that they are steeped in tradition, right? So these tournaments that they play every year, the Masters, the US Open, the British, and the PGA, the four majors, plus you got the Players Championship, and then you have the Tour Championship down in Eastlake. These are like really historically significant tournaments in the game of golf, and the PGA is holding on to that tradition. They're holding on to that sentiment of what these tournaments are, hoping that the threat of the players that jump ship can't play in these is enough to keep them into the PGA. And the one thing that they're going against is more or less unlimited funds from this other league. And not only are the purses more profitable, right? The winnings are a little bit more than what's in the PGA, but these players are just to come and play in these tournaments, they're getting $100 million. So I think it's incredibly interesting. I think if the PGA played their cards right, they could compete with this league and they can beat them because the PGA definitely has the better product, right? Nobody knows about the LIV Golf. Nobody knows what course they're playing in London. Nobody cares about Trump National, wherever the hell they're playing their next one. I mean, these aren't well-known courses to your regular Joe Schmo golf fan like you and I, right? But we know what Augusta is about. We know what Torrey Pines is about. We know what the Waste Management Open and TPC Scottsdale is about. We know these courses.
All right.
More or less. So I can't wait, man. I just hope it gets way, way, way more convoluted and more golfers go over to this league and the PGA squirms and then everybody wins.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I thought it was interesting though and I never really thought about it before, but I always hear about like how nice these Trump National golf courses are. But yet there's not a single PGA event there. And when LIV announced their initial tournaments, there's two of them on that list. So I always wondered. There
was a couple. The PGA Championship in 2020.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this year, it was supposed to have been at Trump National in Bedminster, New Jersey.
Okay.
And then after January 6th, they changed it to Southern Hills in Oklahoma.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
yeah, for sure.
Dustin Johnson and Graham McDowell both lost their sponsorship too from the Royal Bank of Canada. They terminated it instantly when they announced it.
Yeah, well, the Royal Bank of Canada and almost every other organization in the world has a beef with the Saudi government. When Dustin Johnson previously won the Saudi Open, which happens, I think, right before the US Open, right after, or the British Open, something like that, like right in there. When he won the Saudi Open a year or two ago, he wasn't allowed to wear his RBC patch on his shirt. They wouldn't put it on. They wouldn't advertise for that tournament.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Wild. So and then as soon as he did this, I'm sure the relationship would have been strained, and then sure enough, he lost the sponsorship with them, which, whatever. They're not paying him $100 million. What the fuck does he care?
Yeah. Do you see anything to that though? Because a lot of people are against this whole thing because it's Saudi backed, and they're saying that like a lot of the money is like blood money from different things. And I know a lot of like Saudi companies own like soccer teams and cricket teams and things like this around the world. And like they say that they're kind of washing that money through these organizations.
Yes. There's definitely something to that.
Yeah.
But then if you're going to say that, then you're going to have to audit everything that you do.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything that you do, if you want to, remain constant to that ethos, you're going to have to audit everything. You're putting gasoline in your fucking car today, aren't you?
Yeah.
Where do you think that came from? Not to downplay it, because there's absolutely something to it, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it just made me think, because like if I was in the same situation and like, hey, you want, even if it was like $10 million to come join the LIV tour, would you do it? I'm just like, I mean, yeah, I know it comes from bad shit, but like, I'm going to take the check, bro. I don't, unless it's like very egregious and it's like very obvious, but it's like, there's bad shit that happens all the time. And like you're just saying, gasoline, another example right there. We use it every day. No one gives a fuck about it. Diamonds. Fucking people get married and show that as a sign of love. And these are blood diamonds that people get slaughtered in Africa for. So it's just like, to me, I'm taking the check. I don't blame these guys at all.
Yeah, because you play in the PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour exists in America, and America just opened war against Yemen. Nobody knew about that. Did you know about that? Do you know we're at war with Yemen?
Nope.
Yeah, we're at war with Yemen. Why are we at war with Yemen?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we do terrible shit too. I mean, maybe we don't liquefy journalists. And that's a completely outrageous thing to do. But it's not like the money that you're getting is like completely clean either. And that sucks, because I don't want to like deter from the awful shit that's going on. This week or next, Biden will be visiting Saudi Arabia in an attempt to broker some better fuel prices. And there are calls for him to go there and give the middle finger to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia for the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, who was on the payroll of the Washington fucking Post. So it's like, yeah, they do terrible shit. They stone gays. They are gradually letting women go see movies. You know what I mean? Like they're definitely backwards.
Yeah.
But if you're Dustin Johnson and you can get $100 million for you and your family for playing golf,
just for joining the league, not even like,
right. And I guess you can justify it by saying, well, that money's going to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
If it's not going to go to me, it's going to go somewhere else. And you can be very cynical about it and everything's all corrupt and,
he can do good with their money. He can donate it to charities and whatever else also.
I mean, you're definitely going to have to bend your ideals of freedom and what it means to be a good person in order to accept that money. Yes, you will absolutely have to do that. And I think anybody would become much less rigid in their ideals with $100 million check right in front of your face.
Yeah,
I take it. I'm not above it.
Before we get out of here, I just read something interesting on the internet earlier today, and it said that according to a nameless Russian oligarch, Vladimir Putin has a pretty bad case of leukemia.
I've heard
cancer, and he's been going through treatments endlessly, and I guess maybe it's continuing to get worse and worse, and there's a lot of scrambling within the Kremlin right now, a lot of unknowns, kind of fights for power. So I'm sure it's not like going to be very reported on and whatnot, but it'd be interesting to kind of just see what that would be and like who could possibly head the ship next if something like that does happen. Like my guess would be he would just die someday, and it's like would be my guess. I don't think it'd be like a documented thing or anything he would like formally announce or come out with, because it would come across as like a sign of weakness in their culture.
Right. And this story came out a few years back, man, like 2018.
Oh, really?
2017, that he had health issues and that he was going to step down. That was his his plan.
Oh,
and then I didn't know when. I don't follow Russian politics at all, but it came out that he was not doing great and that he was going to step down for health reasons, and that never materialized. But to hear this about him, and to see some really weird videos, see those videos where he's like at a table and he's like gripping the table like this, and he's like, and he has like shakes when he goes, in public, and so I mean that just might be the stress of starting World War III. But I have heard he's in bad shape. So
and when's the last time we talked about Ukraine, bro? It's still going on too. It's just crazy how this news cycle is just like
it is, and there's so much going on, and there's so much to like decipher and to figure out what is true, what is not. I hear things all the time about how, Ukraine's making pushes, and then on the back end, I hear it's like, it's not looking great, and that we're sending them. We just approved $40 billion to send to Ukraine. Good, great, awesome. I'm glad that we all had a vote on that. That's excellent.
Should be going to our education system
or something, dude. Yeah, but I think right now we see this, and our very public comments about this conflict has made it clear that we see this as a proxy war between us and Russia, and we are intent on winning.
I just don't understand then if that's the case, we boots on the ground, but I think they're just too scared of what Putin would do at that point.
Yeah, agreed. And that would be us being the belligerent in that case, really.
Yeah.
Because we haven't really been attacked, right?
Very true.
Like for example, Biden was going to send some long-range missiles to Ukraine, but before he did, he needed like assurances from Ukraine that they were not going to shoot these into Russia. Right? They were just going to use them for the war on the ground in Ukraine. So it looks like we're trying to be diplomatic as much as we can, but the West is intent on weakening Russia for sure.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we literally haven't talked about this since like March.
Yeah, it's crazy. Still happening.
Anyways, send us off.
Yep. Shout out our sponsors, Gun Barrel Coffee. Drinking a good, smooth cup of coffee is a treat all by itself, but when you can do that and help American heroes, it is that much better. Gun Barrel Coffee is proud to donate $1 from every item purchased to veterans and first responder charities all across our great country. The way they do this is that they offer 14 different blends and roasts, which you can get in whole bean ground or single serve pods. And right now, as a friend of our ship, you can use the promo code FNH10 and you'll save 10% at checkout when you buy the products at gunbarrelcoffee.com. That is promo code FNH10. Gun Barrel Coffee, damn good coffee, damn good cause. Make sure you hit the links in our bios on all of our socials that Frank's about to tell you, and check out our merch. We just want to get the name out there, man. My brother Zach put the logo together for us, real neat, real smooth, real clean, and we just want to get the word out there to people, man, so that people come and join the ship and hear what we have to say, and maybe want to join us and let us hear what they have to say. So check it out. Shirts, hats, underwear, coffee mugs, anything you could want, we have. If you don't see it on there, let me know, and I will personally design it for you and get it up there within the day.
He will do that. That's not a joke. You can find us on Twitter at FriendshipNH, on Instagram and TikTok, same handle, at Friendship News Hour, and you can send us an email, bummerdude.media@gmail.com, bummerdude.media@gmail.com. We will see you next time.